Good morning, everyone. And today we'll be presenting to you our presentation on supporting at-risk students. This has been created by Stephanie Cáceres, Donna Garcia, and Hayne MacDonald. For our unit plan, we will be focusing on for 11th graders in a U.S. history course, and it has been created to focus on a safe space environment and providing the appropriate support for all students. Now, the specific kind of students we have decided to focus on for this unit plan is at-risk students. We have defined an at-risk student, a student who is on the bridge of or already is failing the class. They are typically students that have very little support at home, if any, and these are the ones who require the most attention. And we want to do this before they slip through our educational system. The goal is to provide the most and best for all students to have the opportunities to become successful. So in order to do so, we are going to go ahead and present some different theories that we have been able to mix in and incorporate into our unit plan. Before moving forward, these are the Common Core standards as well that are in our unit plan. So go ahead and you guys can take a look at these. Again, these are provided within the link for everyone if you guys want to go ahead and read those in your own time. So moving on with the theories, the first one is the psychological and cognition theory. It will be applied by practice, written, verbal, and images, critical thinking, and prior knowledge. Cognitive development, according to Peggett, states that children learn through assimilation and accommodation. It is important for teachers to look at the students' facial and body expressions when presenting this lesson in order to organize signs of misunderstanding. Also, it is important to make sure that students understand the directions. In addition, meaningful learning occurs when knowledge stored in long-term memories is shifted to short-term memory to integrate new information into their minds. This will help our at-risk students hear the information again in order to build more information for future references. A different theory that we focused on is behaviorist theory. Watson describes behaviorism as a purely objective experimental branch of natural science. Its theoretical goal is the prediction and control of behavior. Intersection forms no essential part of its methods, nor is the scientific value of its data dependent on the readiness in which they lend themselves to interpretation in terms of The basic principles of behavioralism are often utilized to help children learn new skills and overcome maladaptive behaviors, while conditioning is used in many situations ranging from parents to education. Behaviorism could also be used within the classroom as students repeat content drills and receive positive reactions from external and internal forces. This positive reaction and consistency would ensure that students gain a strong understanding of the content. Looking into the constructivism and Pagetian theory, Paget's theory has two major forms: the process of coming to know and the stages where we move through as gradually acquiring this ability. Assimilation and accommodation are both used throughout the life as the person increasingly adapts to the environment in a more complex manner. Take into account Peggett's work, educational needs vary from person to person, in our case, from our students to students, depending on situations and different circumstances each child has and in where they come from. This is one of the leading factors that cause at-risk students to become at-risk students. There could be so much more coming from the students' lives, so much change, and they're not able to adapt fast enough as the rest of the students could. This is where trial and error opportunities are needed to be given in the classroom for students to develop their understanding. In addition, the need for them to familiarize themselves into the group work, group projects, and have hands-on experience. And this is what we will bring into the unit plan. Now, looking into Vygotsky's and Bernard's theory, Vygotsky provides that child development consists of children passing through a series of stable development that are interpreted by periods of crisis. For our unit plan, we plan on implementing Vygotsky's theory by taking into account the different phases a child has at certain points and how their social environments influences the students. Taking into account that all students are different and that crises may occur differently or at different ages will help us understand our students better. We plan on incorporating one day to our unit plan, a check-in day, where the students check in a circle and have the opportunity to bond and connect with the teacher. Bernard states that intellectual development is when students are capable at any stage of development to view and explain their reasoning a certain way. Students will be able to read and interpret these events in history at a high level because they are being provided the thoughtful skills to do so. Students will understand more as to why they study history and why it's important to learn it. Moving forward to learning and social cognitive theories, the social cognitive theory was created by Albert Bandura, follows the lines of reasoning of classical conditioning and operant conditioning. However, social cognitive theory includes the concept that learning occurs between a stimulus and response. That behavior is learned by observing one's environment. The instructors share an exemplar student's writing with the class. Seeing their classmates celebrate for wonderful work will serve as an additional model for at-risk students. Those students may traditionally might not have their work praised for publicly, but it does give that positive reinforcement the students a motivation to be able to aspire to that work. It has also been noted that the attitude and mannerism of a teacher has a very large impact on the success of the students in the classroom. Working in line with the social cognitive theory, the instructor within the classroom will need to model confidence and kindness with themselves and towards the students. This will be especially important for our at-risk students who may have previously had negative interactions with school or other educators. As for cognitive and metacognitive development theories, it is any mental process that improves children's ability to process information. There are 5 different types. There's a neural mechanisms, associative competition, encoding, analogy, and strategy choice. Besides being in the Common Core standards, it is essential for students to be disciplined across in the process of completely working actively and skillfully in conceptualizing, applying, analyzing, synthesizing, and or evaluating information. The benefits of students being able to observe, experience, reflect, reason, and communicate is to make positive real-life decisions and to make no assumptions. All of this is not just guided towards for any student, but specifically our at-risk students. In addition, we will be asking students to share their opinion and throughout our class discussions, and this would allow the critical thinking to occur within our students. Now, lastly, we will look into our intelligence and creative theory. Intelligence is described as something that involves some different mental abilities, including logical, reasoning, problem solving, and planning. Many educators have had the experience of not being able to reach some students until presenting the information in a completely different way or providing new options for students' expressions. There are 8 different kinds of intelligence, and as you can see them here. The first one will be our visual, spatial, linguistic, verbal, interpersonal, intrapersonal, logical, mathematical, musical, bodily, kinetic, and naturalistic. Looking at these, being able to have these principal intelligence, we can incorporate little into our unit plan. For example, in order to accommodate a visual and verbal learner, we can give students a video to watch in order for them to visually see the lesson. Now, here are some lists of references of what we use to be able to accommodate everything and incorporate it into our unit plan.